the amount of fakes out there in the market, it's too much. I went through 30 pages of eBay stores selling the fake.
My name's Sasha and for almost a decade now, I've been helping people start and grow e-commerce businesses. I'm joined today by my co-host, Hamen, who's spent over $30 million on advertising and generated over $120 million in sales for Shopify clients alone.
It's actually a pretty good one for any person that's looking at Black Friday, because we're going to be giving some strategies around how to do the offer and position things for the period.
And we're going to break down her story in terms of what's been happening in her company over the last 6 months.
A couple of years ago, bought a 70 series Land Cruiser. If there's one problem with the Land Cruiser, it's that they don't have a cup holder for the passenger. We went forward and created a product for the 70 series Land Cruiser. So it's just a cup holder that sits in the dash.
It gives you an edge, but you still have to spend the money, spend the time, go and hunt these people.
We had some growth, but it was a very limited market. There was a lot of competition in the market. We decided that we would pivot the business into the caravan and camping world.
What is the size of your list at the moment in terms of your customer list?
I couldn't tell you what our customer list is, but I think when I sent out an email this week, it was about...
Hamen, welcome back to the show, my friend.
Exciting session. It's actually a pretty good one for any person that's looking at Black Friday, because we're going to be giving some strategies around how to do the offer and position things for the period.
Excellent. Shelby, give us a quick introduction, a little bit of a backstory about yourself, first things first, and then also a little bit around the brand that you actually own as well.
Yeah, sure. So I am just a Brisbane-based girl. I grew up here. I live here with my husband and my 3 children. So we've got a bit on. I am a marriage celebrant and as well. And my husband has a tiling business. And we, a couple of years ago, bought a 70 series Land Cruiser. And if there's one problem with the Land Cruiser, it's that they don't have a cup holder for the passenger. And it seems like a small detail, but it's a very big problem in those cars. Yeah, so we kind of got designing. There's a space, in the dash, and we got designing. And when I say we, I mostly mean my husband. And we sourced a company local to us. We got designing with them, and we went forward and created a product for the 70 series Land Cruiser. So it's just a cup holder that sits in the dash. It just replaces the whole original piece. We did purchase the tooling for that. So it is Australian made, which is a really cool bonus for the product. Yeah. And then from there, it just kind of snowballed. We did the driver's side. We did some gear stick extensions. We did some armrests. So the product range grew when we realized that there was obviously a market for the products that we were thinking of. And we know, having that car, we would jump in it and, notice a few little different things. So we started that about 4 or 5 years ago now. But we were both still working other jobs, having children. Life was very busy. So it was always just kind of there. It was never given our 100% attention.
Right.
And then after I had my second child, I didn't go back to my sales job. I tried to focus on that a little bit more, which was great. We had some growth, but it was a very limited market. There's a lot of competition in the market, and we kind of just realized that if we weren't going to continue to pour money into product development there, then we kind of weren't going to get anywhere. And we love going camping and caravanning. And if there's one thing that came out of COVID for people living in Australia, it's that caravan and camping became the new in thing, I suppose. Yeah. So, there's millions of people who now caravan and camp over traveling overseas and interstate and all that sort of thing. So we decided that we would pivot the business into the caravan and camping world, which is a lot easier said than done, especially when you've built an audience and a market for, the rough terrain, four-wheel driving and all that sort of stuff.
And so just to put some context, how big was the business? So when you went through this pivot, how many customers were you guys acquiring? How big was the company when you went and did that pivot?
So we weren't doing anything in terms of Facebook ads or, we were just doing the couple of Instagram posts here and there. It was anything really steady. It would probably be, a couple of sales a week, which In the beginning, sorry, it was a lot more than that because we were so new on the market. And I should say this was probably a pretty big detail. We actually paid to have the product patented.
Of course.
And within the first 6 months, someone bought it, sent it to China, and just then completely flooded the market with it. So that was a really...
They ripped the product in the first 6 months.
Yeah.
Oh,
even
wow.
though it was patented.
So technically you worked on, so 1 second, sorry. That's a big element for me looking at it, because we talk about the patent all the time. So technically you did that, but then in China they kind of did, like, they just started producing it, right?
Yeah. And look, it gave us really good leverage for the companies in Australia who were selling it to take it down immediately. That was really good. But that in itself is a full-time job, going through businesses, through eBay pages, like all that sort of stuff. And they'd take it down, and then 6 months later they'd go, oh, they've forgotten about it now, we'll just pop it back up.
Right.
So that, and look, the quality is obviously very different, but that's really hard to explain to someone when you're selling it for $150 and they're selling it for $50. They're like, well, I'm not going to spend $150 if I can spend $50. And like, I get it. You know, that's the world that we live in. That's fine. But you know, that causes a lot of problems for
just to go into that one more time, Shelby, because I know a lot of clients, they get really caught up in the idea of like, okay, I'm not going to bring my product to market yet until I've got my patent. I'm not going to, I need to make sure it's trademark, it's copyright, it's the whole thing. And then like my philosophy is always like a patent or a trademark or a copyright, it's only as good as your ability to enforce it. You know what I mean? And so you can have that thing, but unless you've got like the time, the resources, the legal support to go and hunt these people, it's like it gives you an edge. But at the same time, if something was to happen, you're kind of you're a little bit stronger than if you didn't have it, but you still have to spend the money, spend the time, go and hunt these people. Because if you don't do it, no one's just going to stop. They can just continue.
No, that's exactly right. Yeah. And you know, even so, like if someone is asking me my opinion on it, the patent is not worth the money it's written on.
Oh, thank you so much for saying that.
Yeah. It's
thank you.
Just...
Yeah, we keep thinking about it like that. Every time we have a recommendation, should you do that? Yeah. I'm like, I'm not sure, to be honest.
No. I think we would have spent upwards of $30,000 having it done.
Wow.
It was a very innovative idea.
One second. And how much did we do in revenue? Because that doesn't make sense. Like your revenue in that year were like under 12,000, or like the first year, actually you were under 8,000 a year in revenue, correct?
Yeah, we are probably online, but wholesale wise was a little bit different. But yeah, we definitely wouldn't have made that money back. Like we would have by now, but you know, then with everything else. So yeah, we've actually just come up to, I think, our time of our initial like payment and registration being done, and we've actually chosen not to renew it.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, because the amount of fakes out there in the market, it's too much. Like I remember one time I went through 30 pages of eBay stores selling the fakes. That's how many. And I had to go through and I had
plus?
And I had to go through and, you know, add every shop URL and all these details for every single shop that was selling it. And it was so time consuming and such a waste of time because, like I said, they'd take it down and then like a couple of weeks later it would be back up again, or they'd just make a new site, or they'd put it on one of their other channels. So it was just a waste of time. And like obviously really disheartening. We were just, you know, a young family who was just trying to do something to make our life better, and that other people just don't care. So when we would talk to our patent attorney to send an email in the beginning, we were like, hey, you know, this person's selling the copy. He'd be like, great, let's send an email. Let's take it down. He'd send an email and then we'd get an invoice for like $1,000. So even just to send an email.
That doesn't make sense. But you're like, you're like, you could have put this in the marketing. Like, I'm just thinking, well, 30K plus 1,000 every time. And you're mentioning 10 plus. That's like you probably could have rebuilt another brand. Just thinking about the numbers here.
Yeah. So I ended up getting to a stage where I just got really good at putting an email together and taking them down. Yeah, because I was like, I can't keep paying you this much money. But yeah, they, you know, it was really good to have like that power over someone to be like, take it down or we're going to take you down sort of thing. But in the end,
you'd say like the ROI, just to think about it. So the ROI is not worth it because even implementing it costs a lot of money.
Yeah. And the thing is, like I said, in China, and like we did it in South Africa, and we were having big conversations with people in South Africa about getting our products over there. And then they came across the fakes and then just bought the fakes. And, we'd say to them, take it down. But, the thing is, in those sorts of countries is it takes like 2 years to get something into court, and they also just don't care.
Yeah.
So it's not worth it. So, yeah, I'd hate to think about, all the money and time that we've wasted and spent on that, but you just learn from it. And
yeah, but that's the thing. You're just saying it. You learn from it. That's it. Like if you think about the business, it comes with scars. Like I'm actually not saying that you're just operating and it's just going to be like fun and everything. You're going to do mistakes, and then you're going to be like, I'm not going to do this for the second product. I'm not going to do this for the third product. And you saved probably millions of dollars as you grow your business because you're not going to do this again. Think about you learning and you not doing it again. That's saving you so much money knowing that. Obviously, with a coach or someone telling you already that part, probably that's a good thing. But I'm just thinking about you're already saving when you know that you should not do this again.
And it's also, I just want to recognize you for sharing it as well, Shelby, because there's like I said, there's so many people that they get so caught up in the idea of protecting something that hasn't even made any money yet. And so, like, my view is always like the biggest advantage to keep you the most well protected is just speed of action. Like if you're rapid and you're quick and you're first to market and you're just hammering and all your focus is on like making more money versus being like, how do I protect? It's like you'll win simply because you just got such a long kind of like gap between you and then the next person. You're ahead versus trying to, fight and squabble for a couple of dollars here, a couple of dollars here, a couple of dollars here. It's like, it's very interesting. So I appreciate you for sharing that. It's a very, very interesting story. So sorry to digress, shift into what happened after that. Obviously you did the pivot with the business and you mentioned you kind of pivoted into a bit of a different niche, it sounded like.
Yeah. So like Hamen said before, we've got basically 2 avatars now. And I did consider splitting the business and, creating a whole new one, but realistically, that was probably just going to take too much time. And we already had built a bit of an audience. And even though, one's 4-wheel drive and one's camping and lifestyle, they kind of do go hand in hand. When I was going caravanning, I would have to take my cocktail glasses wrapped up in a tea towel and, shove it in a cupboard and just hope to God that it didn't break while we were driving there. And I don't even know. I think I was just like scrolling through like Alibaba one day and I came across it and I was like, well, this is genius. And it was just an insulated cocktail glass. And I just did some inquiring, got some samples, and I was like, I really think that this is something. And then just noticed that no other brand was doing it. Like you've got your Yetis and you've got your Stanleys and all that kind of stuff, but no one else was doing this particular style of cup. And we bought it in and it just kind of, it went really well for us. And that was when, at the start of the year when my youngest started daycare is when I approached you guys. And I just, I had a little bit more time up my sleeve. I was going to have 3 to 4 days child free. Whereas before it was always like, okay, I've got 2 hours while she's asleep. I've got to have lunch. I've got to put a load of washing on and I've got to do some work in that time. So time was a little bit more easy for me to access. But then in saying that, it never works out that way. You kind of fill it with all the other things. But I came on board with you guys at the start of the year and we had already had an established business. So there was a fair bit of the course that I watched but didn't really apply to where I was at in my business, I suppose. So I kind of skipped a little bit and went straight to the Facebook ads because that was something that I really wanted to get into. And I had dabbled in it a little bit, but, in hindsight, really just wasted money because it wasn't set up properly. Which I think is a mistake that a lot of people make. They'll hit that boost ad button or they'll go in and try and set it up, but it's I used to look at it like, you need a fucking science degree to do this. Like, I do not know what I'm looking at here.
But I remember something. I remember actually, like when you joined in, like you started going to the sessions, but I looked at your profile and you had like $500 in revenue per month, kind of like at that level, 500 to 1,000. And it's been the case for 2 years plus. So I was actually thinking about, you're like at the level where you need something to move to the next level, and you started joining the coaching sessions. And I remember telling you, well, let's look at the campaigns. You were kind of like seeing that, but it's almost like you needed more practice every single time, like with a coach. Because I've seen that your progress, you went, by the way, just to show me your numbers, you went from $500 in the first, let's say, when you joined in the beginning of the year, to $30K a month in actually July. That was your highest month. That's like a strong scale. You're almost like 1,000% up in the year. That's like a massive percentage.
Yeah. The coaching calls with on the Facebook ads and stuff were, I hate saying it, but like a game changer for us. It was just like unlocked this whole new level of revenue, audience, like everything. And once I could get my head around it, and like I'm not by any means a professional on Facebook ads. Like I still look at some of the stuff Hamen goes in and does. I'm like, what are you doing? Slow down. I don't know what you're doing.
Wait a second. We need to look at the numbers.
Yeah. But yeah, it was just incredible. And actually now I'm sitting back going, okay, I think I need to tap into Google ads because, Facebook ads are working so well for us. And I know that thinking of our avatar, there's a lot of people for our 70 series stuff that probably wouldn't be shopping on Facebook like a lot of our other avatar are, if that makes sense. So Google, a lot of our competitors come up straight away when you type in like even something to do with the 70 series. So I'd love to try and tackle that. And I just, knowing the success that we've had from doing the meta ads, if that can kind of be replicated in the Google ads, like there'll be no stopping us.
Yes. And by the way, I think your two products, they're actually both like working, like you're selling both with Meta. So if I was to look at it, you did not just unlock one side with a new product. You're actually running both, and both of them are, you're running them in the same ad account, and they're working both. And actually, I think you, at one moment, you run out of stock for one. Like, hey, I don't have inventory. I remember like you joining in, like I paused the ads. I'm like, why did you pause the ads? I don't have inventory. So you sold you sold all the inventory for the cups, correct?
Yeah. So we ended up. So I think our first order was only like 500, and like in a couple of weeks, I was like, oh my God, I need to place another order. But, I didn't have that forecast. And even on the second time, like I still didn't, I missed the mark because I was like, is it too early to pull the trigger? Am I going to sell? Is that enough? And then we actually placed an order, and like watching the sales, I had said to my husband, I was like, it's not going to be enough. Like, and we actually ended up ordering another 1,000 on top of what we already had coming, because I was like, Black Friday, end of year, like then they shut for Chinese New Year. And even now I know I'm like, I need to get my next order in so that it's here early next year, because it takes so long, which is one of the downfalls, obviously, of manufacturing overseas. But, you just have to prepare for it.
How does it fit? How's it changed, I guess, for you guys, Shelby, as founders and being like the entrepreneurs behind the business? Because I just want to understand, like you went from for example, what it sounds like start of the year joining, and then I guess like doing a few things with some boosted posts and trying to sell more product, but not really knowing exactly how, to now 7-8 months later. It seems as though the competency and the confidence you probably have around this is how we acquire customers. This is how we can almost turn the tap on and get more customers. So how has it changed for you in terms of being the founder of the business and having that skill set and feeling like you can control to some degree how you actually get your customers? Has it changed anything? Has it given you any kind of different outlook on the future of your business?
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely when we hit our 30K month, I felt like, it sounds really silly, but I could see the light. I could see the light at the end of the tunnel. I could see my husband coming off the tools. I could see me not having to do so many weddings on the weekends. I could see that our future was we can both work in this business. He doesn't have to break his back every day. We can do this product development for us. This business has been more about being a brand rather than a product. And we could see that. We could see that happening. I could see, like, I had somebody come on board very briefly, but to help me with some socials and stuff like that. And that was really refreshing to be like, oh, I can actually palm off a job now because I have that little bit of extra money to play with for her to do it. I don't have to kill myself to do it. I don't have to get up at 4:00 in the morning to do that. So that was really refreshing. And yeah, it gives you a boost of confidence. And it's funny that you said like a tap, because that's honestly how I felt. Like we were doing so well, and then I ran out of stock and I turned it off, and it literally was just like a tap. Yeah. It just turned it off.
I remember. I was like, what's happening? I just paused it.
It was like 30 grand a month. We're getting to 50. And then we're like, no, we're not. We turned off the tap.
Yes. I remember you attended the call. I was like, what happened? Like, this is like, the traffic was just like zero. Like, why? He's like, I just paused it. I was like, why? I have no inventory. And we actually discussed a lot, by the way, for any person listening, about the pre-order. I know you're not necessarily aggressive on that, but I was actually, you still think about it from that perspective, where I kind of recommend it to kind of look at the pre-order structure, because I don't like to pause the ads. Like that thing that you just mentioned, I don't like it. It just doesn't necessarily scale well. So I'm a high risk taker.
I did turn on the pre-orders. Like when I jumped back into it, had that call with you, you showed me that other website that were doing it. And I think we got like 60 pre-orders in the end, which was really good because, you know, by the time they arrived, like I could get them all out, and it was all very exciting. And I think I only really had them on for like a week and a half. So that was good. You know, it was that good little boost again to be like, oh yeah, this is it. This is the rhythm that we were in, waking up, packing the orders, you know, doing the things. So,
but just keep in mind that we have like probably like something that we talked about in a previous episode. We have a partnership with like a company that would do all the fulfillment for you from China without you having to do anything. And with a lower lead time, you can save pretty much like all the time you just mentioned here. That's another massive unlock. We actually have one client that went to China to see them, and he was like, hey, this team is amazing.
Yeah, right. Well, when we were doing, you know, the 30K, I was like, that was also something I was looking at, like a warehouse. Like we have got a garage here where we are building a shed, but you know, there's going to be so much other stuff in the shed. And I did say I don't want to spend my day packing orders. Like I want to spend my day doing things in the back end that are going to make more money.
Exactly.
But of course, you know, there are also things that you need to take into consideration in your costs. And where do you sacrifice that? I suppose like your time is not free, but it is free in a lot of ways. You know, when you're doing it at night or whatever. But yeah, that's something that in the future we will definitely want to look at.
I think there's a lot of margin that you could rebuild back into your company using that kind of vendor overseas. I know another Casey, I believe Hamen. She just recently moved all of her fulfillment and production over there, and I think she added like another 30% into her company's margins just through like that move, and it's also like the because it's held and then it's shipped, the whole entire process is there, and she's like really just gone hard on the quality to make sure it's as per what it would be if she did the big source, the MOQ, all those things. But what it does is it frees up your cash flow from, you know, doing these big massive like lump sum orders and then having to outlay tens of thousands, 10,000, whatever it is at a time, and then recoup, and then go again. And so it's like they kind of like hold that, they manufacture like almost like just in time as it comes through. Okay. It's kind of like process. So it's a lot more efficient cash flow wise. And I've seen some really positive lifts. So I think it's like to improve the cash flow, it's very much worthwhile investigating, seeing how you could get closer with those guys and seeing what that might look like for you, because I've seen some really positive kind of uplifts on profitability on companies. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I would actually go as far as I would recommend this as something for you right now. So if I was to look at your business, just to give you a little bit some things that I'm seeing, you have a good structure. You have a profitable ROAS, like you're like within targets. You're doing about 6K plus revenue per week. Your AOV is pretty good. It's 112. So obviously, it fluctuated a little bit. Your conversion rate is stable. So you have a structure that's actually working, but you need some unlocks. Like the unlocks that I see so far, I'll tell you the first two, probably I'll start with the first one, is the lead time, like the thing we're talking about here. Because you paused the ads. You lost so much money. Like when you joined my call, I was surprised. I was like, what's happening? Is like something off? I actually checked your account before you joined, and I thought something like I thought your account was disabled. I was like, oh, and then you join in and like, hey, I just paused the ads, and you mentioned actually you traveled or something, right?
Yeah, we went away. Yeah.
So I remember that. But anyway, so that was for me, that's a big unlock you need to do. Anytime you're not making 10, 20, 50K a month, you're losing money. It's like that for me, you're losing when you're not making. So that's why I really am big on you need to do the pre-order structure. Now, that's the first thing that I would recommend for you. You need to cut down the lead time. You need to work with this company. They're going to just help you scale. So that's going to be the main thing that I would recommend as a first thing. Make sense?
Yes. Yeah.
And in terms of like creatives and like front end, like offers, acquisition, how has that been running for you so far, Shelby? In terms of like, have you got like a particular like creative strategy? Are there like some particular creatives that you're like, this works really well? Is there like an offer that you're using that works really well, particularly?
We have a particular bundle for the cups that seems to be working really well for us, so much so that I've actually bought out a limited edition color for the end of the year, and I'm only selling it in that bundle because I don't want to be stuck with random mismatched stock. And I would say, if we were to get 10 orders for the cups in a week or in a day, 8 of them would be a bundle. So it just kind of made sense to bring out a limited edition, but only in a bundle. In terms of offers, that's kind of actually it. I have always been really conscious to not be a brand that always does sales. For our Land Cruiser stuff in particular, it has always been a more high quality product because it is made here in Australia. So we do have a lot more, that tooling is a huge cost, even though our cost per item is low. The tooling, that's a whole nother thing. But yeah, so I only really run usually like 2 sales a year, and it's usually Black Friday and end of financial year. I'm happy to do more, but I kind of haven't really needed to, I suppose. As silly as that sounds, there's obviously always more money that you can make, but there's always, for the past little bit anyway, it's always been consistent. I don't feel like our, like Hamen said, our conversion rate's actually not too bad. So I don't feel like the cost of it is what is turning people away. And the content is funny because I feel like I spent a lot of time trying to produce content, and we have this one video that is just been a really, really good ad for us in every sort of audience that we've targeted, and it is the most basic video. And it's actually got a spelling error in it. And actually, I think it's got 2 spelling errors in it.
That's why it's so good. When you have a spelling error, that's the form.
Yeah. And a couple of people have commented on it, and I've actually come back and was like, that's how you know it's not AI, because I stuffed it up. It's like got like easy to told instead of easy to hold. And yeah, it's just like a silly little mistake like that. But no matter what audience I've run it in, it has always delivered sales for us. And, I think I had a call with, I can't remember who it was, but we were just talking about, you can spend so much time doing these fancy creatives and making it look pretty and trying to hit the right mark. But sometimes the most basic and boring ads is the one that actually makes the most money.
Yeah, that seems like it's Nera. I feel like that's...
Yeah, I think it might have been.
Yeah, I really I can see it like right away.
It's I was like, that must be my wife. Yeah, that sounds like it. Yeah. I mean, like, and then so with the products that you're selling, so one is the cup and the other one's this cup holder, insulated cup. What's the repeat customer rate? What does that look like in terms of like how many people are continuing to come back and buy? Do you have any form of like, are people purchasing as gifts for friends? Like, what does that look like in terms of like the actual repeat rate of the business?
It's not something I keep a close eye on, to be honest. With the 70 series stuff, it's kind of like a one purchase kind of situation, because once you've got it, you've got it. But the cups, I actually said to my husband last night, I saw a lady come through. So she did an order and then she did another order like 5 minutes later, but then I went onto her profile and it was like her fourth order that she had actually placed. She had placed one like months ago when we kind of launched. So I was like, she's purchasing it for a gift. Good. And like seeing that's really exciting. And the thing about the cups is they're actually the perfect gift, because they're kind of like an item that like it's really practical and cool to have, but it's like a lower cost item. So that's going to be a real focus for us in Christmas, you know, like Secret Santa under $50 or something like that, so that it's a really good gift item. So
what is the size of your list at the moment in terms of your customer list and then subscriber list?
I couldn't tell you what our customer list is, but I think when I sent out an email this week, it was about 1,500. So it's not huge, but I actually said to Hamen this week, our emails, I'm trying to get more consistent with it. I suppose that's another thing, is that, you know, as our 70 series products are kind of like a one-time purchase, I have this conscious in the back of my head going, don't annoy them too much, because they'll unsubscribe, and you want them on your mailing list for new products in the future and things like that, because it is that one-time purchase. I think it's I really love it when I see someone order something for the 70 series, but then also add some cups to it. I remember when somebody did that, because I was like, that's two avatars coming together. That's, you know, my two different product lines, and it's cool because it's like they're shopping around the website. Like they're not just clicking on an ad and going straight to a product. So yes, I think
there's a massive opportunity there because the customers are doing it by themselves, in terms of they're kind of like, you know, bumbling around and they're figuring it out, and they're buying, you know, gifts for friends or gifts for partners. And so and then the people who buy the 70 series are finding the other products, and they're kind of buying and bundling and, you know, using this mix and match. It's very, very important, especially if you have a list of about 1,500. Like, you want to be activating around about like 40% in an ideal situation of your business as repeat in some way, shape, or form. Because it's like, if you think about, you know, obviously the most expensive cost in your business is your advertising. It always is, right? And so it's like, if we can subsidize 40% of my business's acquisition and revenue, and then the gross profit on that 40% is so much higher because I pay no acquisition, right? Yeah. I'm accumulating all of this extra cash through hyper intentional, whether it's like gift boxes, whether it's like cross-populating cups to the people that have bought the 70 series, whether it's like putting structured and very intentional kind of like gifting for, and this might be you surveying your list, asking who they're buying for, so that then you can be very, very intentional with like, here's bundles for mum, here's bundles for your bridal party, here's bundle, you know, really, really, really specific, because the better you can do that, and the better you can, with your emails and the back end flows, time things intentionally, right? So it's like you said before, okay, so this lady came back and she purchased the first order. How long was it until the second order? How long was it until the third, fourth, etc.? And then look for these patterns in their buying cycle. And then you need to almost be like, okay, you've purchased, you've received, now it's time to offer for friends. Now it's time to offer for birthdays, because it's like, if you give them the opportunity to think about using the product as a gift, like, they will then think about it, right? If they have to kind of like, you know, gradually and organically get there themselves, it's going to take a lot longer. It's going to be like, okay, you know, they might receive the cups as an example. It might arrive. They might start using, wow, this is a great product. And that's about as far as it goes, right? But it's like, this is a great product. Wow. Email, notification, message, incentive to refer to friends, incentive to buy for friends, incentive to gift and see friends' face the same as my face. Oh, I didn't even think of that. Oh, Jesus! Sally and Jacob, they both love these things. I'm going to buy them, because you also know. Obviously, I had the Oz Fishing Shirts business, similar niche, and the thing that was just so consistent with that company was that people, like, gifting was one of the highest types of orders. Mums would be buying for their dads, their husbands, their sons, everyone else except for them. And it was this constant recurring pattern where they'd come back, buy over and over again for everyone else except for them. Right. And so it's like, because of this particular niche, the outdoors, the camping, that kind of like boating Australian niche, they're very, very extremely passionate people. Right. They love. And they also want to, my father-in-law does a lot of like boating and fishing and all that stuff right now. And he's always like looking for secret tools or like the newest addition to the boat or the newest thing that's like, wow, it's going to make the fishing experience so much better. And then when he brings his buddies on there, he wants to brag. Oh, look at this. And so you want to play into that and use the gifting cycle to be like, you feel that experience you feel right now, how cool you feel kicking back, and you've got your 70 series like cup holder and the insulated thing. Imagine if you could give that to one of your best friends. You know what I mean? Because like there's so much of a revenue unlock there that's probably not in it. It's kind of happening gradually, but I think if you can like open that up a lot more and turn what sounds like repeat purchases on a random ad hoc basis into like, okay, what are the things that need to happen that would have someone purchase first product versus second product versus third product, and what's the language that needs to go into each of those things, so I can turn it into like a systematic process as opposed to, they ordered again. Oh, that's cool. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? It's like predictable versus random. That's like huge for this. Yeah.
Yes. And one thing I was going to actually tell you, there are apps that would allow you to also show more that bundle or that volume. So one thing that I had with one of our clients, when we started, we had this offer that normally people just buy one, right? And I started having those, the bundles. You can buy two and you can gift a friend. So what Sasha mentioned, you can actually add that in the bundle option, buy for a friend. And when you do this, you're going to see your AOV just go up because people will see that the option is available and they're going to start using it. So my recommendation, there's an app called Caching that you probably can install and you can start implementing the bundles. Your AOV for the cups is pretty low, right? So that's something that I would encourage you to tackle in terms of the bundle optimization right away, because that's going to increase your margins. So that's the second thing that I think you're not attacking. And one thing you mentioned, your conversion rate is good. You're like, hey, I don't want to do a Black Friday right now, maybe not the early one. It's because I have good margins and I don't want to give them some portions. And on top of this, you have a good conversion rate. In reality, if your conversion rate double, your CPA goes to half. So think about that. So you don't necessarily need to just do the offer when you have let's say a bad conversion rate. You can actually do it to monetize more an audience. So I would really think about it like that, because otherwise your competitors will do this. Other brands will do this. And we have many brands already doing it. So you're competing against these brands in terms of the auction. So my recommendation, do the early Black Friday deal. Get your conversion rate to 5%. That's going to cut on your CPA to half. And with the lead time being lower, you're just going to scale up. You have no limits. There's no pause. That tap won't be closed. Make sense?
And I think the thing to note to that as well, Shelby, is it's so the goal of doing any form of like offer or I don't like using discount, but like something that's more attractive than buying just like business as usual. What you're looking to do there, because with respect to your like margins generally in terms of like your overall company margins, you have like cost of goods sold. You can't really do too much to squeeze that down by 50%. There's not too much. Like it's like you're not going to. It's always pretty fixed. Shipping pretty fixed, right? Then you've got your advertising component. That's the component there that has a lot of variance to it, right? And so it's like the goal with any form of like offer is to manipulate that, right? That piece right there, such that like you don't have to pay, 30% of your margin for acquisition. The goal of it is, okay, so let's say, for example, I allocate, and I did this with Girls Fishing Shirts Company some years ago. We put together a Black Friday offer, and my typical acquisition cost was about $32 to $35, right? And so we put together this Black Friday offer, and we ran it over the whole Black Friday period. And I added an additional incentive as a percentage off the total if people purchased more than a certain amount. And what happened was, my acquisition cost went from 35, 36 on average down to like $6.50, right? And all other business metrics stayed the same. And so all I did was I gave away a little bit more on the front end here if they purchase at this level, but it literally forgave like more than like 75% of my margin that I had allocated for advertising. So my ROAS over that whole period was like 13x for that whole entire month. And the amount of profit that was generated was like 5, 6, 7 times what usually would be generated. And so it's like the idea with like offers or deals or discounts is not to go and be like, we're going to compromise our margins, we're going to do these things. It's like, we're actually, Tom, I'm not sure if you know Tom from Happy Staffy Co. They ran like this like flash sale yesterday, 2 days ago. And I think they did like between $60,000 and $100,000 in a single day, with this kind of like flash sale, fast promotion, 24 hours only, like today only discount. And their percentage of, ad spend was like 9%. So they were like 10x profit, right? And the same COGS, and then their actual margin as far as net margin was like more than 40%. You know what I mean? And they would never get that on a business as usual, if that makes sense. So the goal there when you're doing these offers is very much to go, okay, cool. What is my typical acquisition margin that I allocate for ad spend? Well, it's $30 as an example. Okay, so what would the offer need to be to take that $30 and squeeze it right down to, I don't know, 5? Oh my goodness. What would a $5 acquisition cost you? You've just added $25 straight to your bottom line. And so like that's how you want to think about it through that lens, and play with the offers so that you can kind of like achieve the maximum level of conversion, maximum level of like influence over people when they come through. And then from your end, you're not compromising any margin. In fact, you're making much, much, much more money. And then in terms of the last point I want to touch on here is like, don't necessarily always think about it like we need to give a discount. We need to do a discount. It's like, you can remain at the same level, but you can do value adds. Like one of the things that, for example, Tom did, which is a fantastic opportunity here. Everything stayed as per usual. He did a giveaway, which was free dog toys for life. Okay. And so people went bonkers in terms of like signing up for this list registration to be able to go in the giveaway to win this kind of like dog toys for life, which is like 10 years. So one person is going to receive free dog toys for 10 years, right? That's an amazing deal. Everyone wants to win that thing. And then when he drew the giveaway and announced it, obviously everyone else who doesn't win, they go, they're bummed. They're really, really upset. They obviously wanted to win. There's a lot of that FOMO. Then what he did is structured into immediately when people find out that they didn't win, there's a discount, or hey, we've just selected you as part of 50 people for a second prize discount, only going to be available for the next 24 hours, right? The whole list gets that discount, right? And so immediately right then and there, everyone has that massive FOMO. They're like, oh my God, I wish I could freaking get that prize. But I guess if I get this right now, because I just have that fear of missing out, I'm going to purchase immediately because I don't want to miss out on the rest of it. And this deal looks good. I've got literally 7 hours left to do it. I'm going to buy right now. So it's like what happened was the monetization of his list is just huge, right? Because you're playing on that function of people being very, very, very compelled to win the big prize. As an example, they don't win the big prize, but there's still the second prize, which is like, you know what? This is still really good. And there's 50 people that have been selected, and the 50 people are all the registrants that were on that actual giveaway. The structure, as far as like really maximizing short-term cash flow and increasing profit, it's very, very, very powerful.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes. And think about also like just positioning. Let's say we look at, you have a product where people would buy more, like bundles. If you look at Busuu, we did kind of something similar. And by the way, credit to Naira, she worked on this. The offer we have right now, it's buy 2, get 1 free. So you might think about, well, buy 2, get 1 free is not necessarily good. But for us, that just scaled up our AOV right away. We went from $55 to like $70, $80. That's extra money right away, considering that the price, we're selling something where we have a cost of goods, but that's a small portion compared to the CPA. So we're kind of regaining our CPA back. And that cut our our CPAs to really like a level where we can just scale up. Right now, I've seen like 9 ROAS with Busuu that I've never seen before. We're normally at 3-4 ROAS. So think about that push in the AOV that can just change your business. Better margin, better scale. And right now, I would say your business would probably work better with that structure that we did with Busuu. So recommendation, go to Busuu, check the offer. And for every person, obviously, like looking at the podcast, look at Busuu's structure for Black Friday. The buy 2, get 1. It's really strong. And right now we're scaling it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Cool.
Very good. Very good. How's that in terms of too many things to do, Shelby, or is that okay?
I mean, my list of things to do was already huge. I know I've got even more, but like it does, like we, just in terms of, like the gifting and stuff, like Hamen, you showed us a website during the week, and it was somebody with lights or something like that. And it was like, if you have the price for one, but then it was like under it if you buy two, and it had the price
Volume
there.
discount,
and like,
yes.
Our bundle is, like, I really like the way it's set out on the website. It's an actual like product that you would like click into. But I'm wondering, if even for this next like little period of the end of the year, it's like, okay, you add one, but yeah, why don't you grab another one for your friend and get like 5% off, or like make it a bundle.
That's the cashing out, by the way.
Yes, I've written it down. Yeah.
Yes, I was to tell you something. You mentioned I have a lot of things to do, right? Like a lot of things to like do and catch up with. I was to tell you, don't do anything. Like everything I just mentioned, just leave that and just focus on two things. Focus on this offer, the bundle should be there.
Yeah.
That's going to change your conversion rate.
Yeah.
Run the ad spend. Do the structure that we talked about with the fulfillment. Those are three things that if you do, your business will be much more scalable. I would probably not do anything else. Like everything you think about, probably not do it. I'll just do those three things. And I think those would allow you to get to 100K to 200K a month in the next probably 90 days if you fix everything I just mentioned. If you position the bundles, they're going to buy more. That's going to increase your margins. If you run the partner with Ecom Capital, we're going to actually have a lower lead time so we can scale up one of the products. I know the other one you're producing it, but one of them would be very scalable. I'm assuming the other one can catch up. So that's going to unlock scale right away to 100K. And then the other one would be you don't pause the ads, you keep running the ads. If you do this, then it's unreasonable to not hit 100 to 200K the next, let's say 90 days or 120 days. And I think that's going to be a game changer because you've seen it once with 30K. You can do it to 300K. It's the same thing. You just need to do more volume and not be dragged into 5 different things, which I feel like that's going to kill every business. If you just have so many things, you don't do the things that are going to drive the progress. And I think Sasha is big on this.
And every business has, I'll share this real quick because I put this together recently in this new training that I've created. And it's like, every business has like infinite things that need to be done. You know what I mean? And the thing is, it never goes away. It always is there, and they're always building, and there's always more, and there's more distractions, and there's urgent things, and there's like fires that are burning rapidly right in front of you. There's other fires that you're looking at in like 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks in the future. Constant chaos. You know what I mean? It's constant. And so I put this together because I think that this is a really good representation of the systems within an e-commerce business and where you should focus your attention on, ranked by their proximity to cash. And so what happens is a lot of the time, I see founders day in, day out, and they do this, right? They will set up an ordinary offer with ordinary creatives, and then their funnel, their ads, their product display, all of that's very ordinary, and it's kind of just producing like maybe break even ROAS. Okay. And then they start jumping down here, and they start doing, for example, like email marketing. And they really, really, really focus on just like email marketing, and the front end of their business isn't even profitable. Or they start going down here, and they start looking at like new products. And they're like, you know what? I've got this new product idea, and it's going to be really good. And it's going to be fantastic. It's going to be excellent. And the front end of their business is bleeding, And so these 3 pillars right here in terms of your advertising and acquisition system, meaning like content creation, whatever that looks like, that feedback loop of pushing content in the market, capturing data, analyzing data, and then repeating and becoming more efficient. All the media buying aspect, which we spoke about before, creative testing, account management, structure of what that looks like, your offer, your offer to market, the website conversion rate, page optimization, like these 3, and then your funnel system. What happens in terms of the upsell, the downsell, the back end? Like how can we maximize that one-time opportunity to take your average order value from $60 and turn it into $120? Those 3, they unlock the most cash in your business. And then once you have more cash coming through, and also more profitable cash coming through, you have a customer list that can then be monetized because the front end's working at economics that allow you to scale more. Then you can shift your focus onto, okay, let's take this growing customer list and monetize it seriously so I can fatten up my margins more and more and more and more and more. Now you've got a customer list that you actually care more about because they're growing. Then you do retention systems like nurture series, all those good things to really like increase. You can do the customer loyalty, community building, all those VIP bonuses and things. Then data begins to become an issue because you've got so many moving parts of the business, tracking attribution, conversion pathways, what people do and what they click on that leads them to purchase at higher volumes, like that deep dive analysis. Fulfillment, next big kind of block that most people run into here is like, I can't keep up with this scale. Oh my goodness. Yeah. And so we discussed this as well. For you, it seems like this has come to the party a little bit earlier. So solving this like sooner is going to give you that peace of mind where it's like, it is taken care of. Now I can push and scale. However, in your instance, I still would make sure that these two components at the start are locked in, and maybe even the third as far as the upsells back end. And then once that's sorted, you've got a really strong system that's working consistently, and each of those particular systems are optimized through. And then you go into product development, managing your cash flows, and then you might start hiring some team members, allocating what they're supposed to be doing. And too many people, they get down into these lists at the bottom here. 6, 7, 8, they get right into 5 and 4, and the top 1 and 2, 3 is not done. And it's like, and then they're like, why is my business not scaling? And it's like, well, you're doing all the operational stuff in your business and you're not focusing on getting new customers and bringing new revenue into the company in a profitable situation. So this, I feel like if you optimize always for what's closest to the money, which is advertising and everything closest to content creation, offer creation, landing page conversion rate, it's like that's the thing that's right there. It's right like at the fire's edge of the cash. Once that's sorted and that's very, very good, very profitable, we want to move next into maximizing what people purchase. That's your average order value. That's your offers. That's all those things. And then you kind of gradually move your way through the funnel, almost like front to back, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think, it's funny you say like about product development and stuff, because we've got another product on the way, and this has been in the works for quite some time. Like even before I started the course, it was something that I had been working on. And it's time consuming, but I think, the thing is that you kind of like, okay, we've got momentum. Then one thing in the 70 series market is that we would do trade shows with a wholesaler that we work with. And the first thing that people would be like, oh, so what's next? Like, what have you got coming next? And we're like, do you know how long this took? Like you obviously don't. You don't know how long this took. You don't know how much money this took. We have fatigue. We just need to just chill out. But we kind of then have got into that. We need to keep that next thing coming. And it's kind of like when we've launched this next the one product, we need to be 6 months ahead of doing the next product, because you got to push it as hard as you can for that short period of time. But that's just because I'm one person trying to spread myself out over all the jobs. But like you said, if you, I work on that content and get that steady, then that will free up time. Whereas at the moment, I'm every day I'm okay, I need to work on some creatives. And then it just gets pushed to the back of the list because I'm spreading myself out over all the other things. Whereas if I can focus on those other things, the rest will come. It's really hard when you're a rookie, it's very hard.
But you mentioned two things that I would actually just to tell you, your probably worst nightmare is, let's say, me competing with you and me doing nothing but just scaling this one product. That's a terrible thing.
100%.
Terrible. And I would not even think about Google. I'll forget about Google. I'm I'll scale the hell out of that, and I'll just sit and just go on a vacation, right? And I'll come back and I'm like, hey, that's it. That's the only thing. I'm very confident that if I do that, I'll probably quadruple the business, and then I'll just find a way to do something else in the meantime. And I will come back and probably will still have some challenges on scaling those many products and many channels and many offers. So I'd really go with focus on what's working, scale the hell out of it, and then you can think about something else.
I'll share this other model that I always look at as well, Shelby. This is and this happens all the time. Founders do this. So say, for example, this is you over here, and this is like your little business that you've got here, right? And then what you've got is you've got some gold coins that you've accumulated. Maybe that's your personal savings that you use to start the business, right? And the whole goal or the whole game of you essentially like growing the company comes through taking those gold coins, investing them over a particular period of time out in the market. This might be in advertising via Facebook ads, Google ads. This might be in product development because you're taking today's money and you're investing it into, you don't have it anymore. It's out of your bank account. It's gone. You're investing it into some future and you're hoping that that future is going to pay off. And it's not just going to pay off and return a 1-to-1 basis, but it's going to return a 3, 4, 5, maybe, hopefully, please. And so what happens is, I see this all the time. So founders will, as an example, get into this situation where they're running Facebook ads, right? And it's working quite well. And within a 3 to maybe 7 day period of taking this one gold coin, the ROI, which is on the right-hand side here, sometimes returns up to a 3x, sometimes even more. Okay. And it's not just the ROI returning, but then it's the confidence that that ROI is going to come back to where it actually came from. And then I took my $1 and then in 3 or 4 days, I turned it into $3 and then it landed back where it actually started. So I've got a really good little machine here that's working. And this is what happens. You know what? I'm getting pretty good at this thing. Things are moving pretty fast. I've stacked up a little bit of extra cash. And then what happens is the eyeballs get taken off this system here and too much attention and too much cash gets deployed out here and then out here to ROI multiples that are a little bit more like hopefully. And then because the time takes so long, what happens is you have more cash out in market than you do accumulating back into your bank account. And this is where most businesses run into a cash flow issue because all of their cash goes into like longer term investments, like the future, as opposed to like maximizing the shortest cash conversion cycle. And then if you were to quantify this through, for example, Facebook ads being the primary mechanism within the short period, you can take $1, turn it into $3, put it back in your bank account. And then as you progress further and further, then you've got like maybe like a new channel, right? Maybe you're starting Google ads. That's more questionable. You haven't done it before. So that might be 2 weeks. That might be 30 days before you see some feedback on where that money has actually been spent versus how long is it going to take to get back and the ROI multiple. Then you take the product development and then you roll that out here. That's like you said, 6 months, 7 months. And that is something that's very important, but it's also like, it's important in the future. And it's like, if we don't get the right now sorted, there's not going to be a future. Does that make sense? If this isn't like squeezed tight and you've got good, strong cash flow, or even think about it from this lens, from what I've heard through this conversation, your numbers are good. Your conversion rate's good. Your ROI is good. But it's like, you have the opportunity for it to be freaking epic. Like great. Like, I mean, like from what I'm hearing from Hamen, I'm hearing for you, it's like, it sounds like we're not even trying that hard in terms of like offers and content and CRO and optimization. And it's kind of performing pretty well. So it's like, imagine if we could turn the 3X into a 5X, and then imagine if you had 2X the amount of net cash accumulation, and then how quickly you'd be able to actually develop products with all that cash. Because maybe you and your husband could be fully in on this because you could take him out of his job. It's like, this model here helps you to think about like, how long is it until I see an ROI on my money? How much of an ROI am I getting? And am I even going to get it back? Because you know yourself, you probably started developing some products and then they just ended up being dead and you never even got any money back from them ever. And it's like, that's cash that you deployed into the market that ended up in, burning versus money right now. You've got a proven model, a proven system. If we max this first cycle out to the point where it's like, geez, like we're really, really, really exploiting the most out of this first cycle. And then once we've really got that into an efficient, profitable system, then you go next platform, next product, and you gradually and sequentially scale. That's how you kind of like duplicate good quality business process, as opposed to let's do a lot of things and they're all average, burning money, not really working. My attention's everywhere. This is frantic. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I definitely feel like there's been a lot of things, and it was part of the reason why I think like really we probably joined the course in the first place, was because everything was like half done, because I was half here and then I had to be half there and then I had to be half there. And so nothing was ever getting 100%. And still it's still not, because I'm still doing all of the things, but yeah, it totally makes sense.
Yes, but don't like kind of translation here. No Google, please.
Yeah, no, it's okay. But like I said, it's something that like I know our competitors are doing in the Land Cruiser space. So it's something that it is something that I definitely want to look at in the future.
But the new product, yes, but the new product, you probably can make much more right now from the bundles we talked about. So if I was to think about just do the bundles, that's going to be an easy win. Run the ads, get the higher ROI. So what Sasha is telling you here, you have a machine doing 2-3 ROAS, you can just make more of that. That's what he's telling you. And if you actually look at the bundles, you fix that, you can scale more, you make more money, and then it's easier. You can hire people. Then you can do the thing you're just saying, the product and everything. So there's a direction when you grow the business that you can actually hire and build the product. We're not saying don't do Google. We're not saying don't launch a new product. We're just saying scale what you have, create a team, unlock time, do that. Make sense?
It's sequencing. Sequencing is one of the most important things for every entrepreneur to learn, because otherwise everything has the same value, everything gets the same attention, and not all activities in business are created equal. Some of them, they do nothing. Some of them will transform your whole company. And if you're going equal, you're robbing yourself of an opportunity right here to do this here, because you're putting this amount of time over here into something that might not even do anything. You know what I mean? So it's like, that's probably your macro level skill set, Shelby, is to be like, which of these things is closest to the revenue? And then I love to use that ICE framework. What's the impact of this particular activity? What's my confidence that this particular activity will pay off? And then what's the ease? How easy is it for me to implement? And so you want to optimize for things for extremely high impact, right? Really high confidence, and very low ease. Extremely easy. You could implement it tomorrow. And when you start working with that, you go, okay, well, what's my confidence with, new platform? What's the impact of new platform? Well, I'm not too sure. I've never done it before. Maybe it'll be good, but maybe it'll not be that good. So it's like impact is maybe 6, 7, something. And what's my confidence? Well, geez, I've never done it. My business has never run ads on that platform. What's my confidence? 6. And how easy is it? Well, I don't know. It might take 3 months, it might take 6 months, it might take money that I'm going to potentially have to rob off another platform. Geez, it might be a 6 or 7. You know what I mean? And so you're like, okay, cool. It's a really good like ranking indexing framework that you can use to be like, this should take my first priority in terms of decision making, because I'm going to get ROI the fastest, second, third, fourth. And you rank them through that kind of lens, and it helps you to like filter your time into the right areas. And then you will notice the ROI will come back in the way it should as well.
Yeah.
So good. Very good. Any questions or anything else you wanted to go through, Shelby, or any other things that you feel like maybe not clear about that we've discussed?
Not really. I think, prioritizing is something that is a weakness of mine, I suppose, that I need to probably just address sooner rather than later. One thing that I do really toy with and go back and forth with, and I know, it's always got to come back to your profit calculator and all that kind of stuff, but adding shipping costs onto the bundles. Like we had one of our bundles and it was spend over $100 and you get free shipping. But shipping costs are like they're here and then they're here and then they're here and they're just all over the shop. And we are just using Australia Post. And I haven't really shopped around too much because, we kind of got to band 5 and it wasn't too bad. But, one day I'd send an order out and it cost me $18. And then the next day I'd send an order out and it cost me $12. And I know you go for an average, but we actually just added the minimum order for free shipping of $150. And I did that just after being a consumer and going onto a few different other websites and seeing what their minimum spend was, and just kind of, recognizing that if I was to get an order and I'm losing $20, I've only got $10. Whereas if I just put that charge up, I'm still just toying with the idea of, do I keep charging for shipping or do I offer free shipping? Because I know as a consumer, I love free shipping, but then the cost of goods goes up. So which one is more appealing to an audience, in your opinion? Free shipping or, have them having to wear that shipping, I suppose?
I mean, my view is anything that creates more friction at the point of sale is a negative. Like that's just, if I've made the decision to buy and then I'm about to check out and I'm like, wait, what? $18 more? You know what? Maybe I need to think about it. So it's like, that's just human psychology. It's like, I've decided based on what I saw on the product page that this is something I'm prepared to pay for. And then all of a sudden they get to the checkout and there's new information. Price has gone up. And now I'm like, I need to consider whether or not that kind of price is worth it versus what I decided on before. So in an ideal scenario, free shipping is the best simply because it kind of is a smooth customer journey. However, like with all of the brands that I've ever had and owned, I'm always testing like, can we add $4.95 on shipping across every order? Can we bump it up to $6? Can we bump it up to $7? Ooh, we notice a drop off at checkout. Let's bring it back to $6. Can we get the price from, $79 up to $84? Can we bring it up to $88? Can we bring it up to $89? Oh, that worked really well. Can we bring it up to $90? $90 starts to crash, bring it back to $88. So it's like you're always looking to, based on the time in the market, based on the amount of like reviews, social proof, how much other people say the same thing that you say. That's the thing that gives you the most leverage, is like you can go out to market and you can say, we've got the best product. This is what we do. We guarantee X and Y and Z. And so you can charge a certain amount for that. Now, over time, you'll build more social proof, more credibility, more and more people will love the product. You'll get more reviews, more social proof. Socials will look better, online presence as far as Google. All of that stuff starts to really build. And then what happens is it gives you the leverage because we say it, but all of these people say it as well. Now we can charge $10, $20, $30 more than what the typical competitor does. So in short, I would always be testing and manipulating your price on shipping, on front end cost and see what that does, but always be playing with it and always be looking for those little like $1, $2 unlocks through your pricing because it makes an impact over time. It really does.
Yeah. I definitely, I know we're not at the ad spend level that we were, but I could almost guarantee almost like every time I looked at my phone, there'd be a bundle. And now it's like, we're still, growing and stuff, but I feel that it has probably put like you said, a point of tension
Absolutely.
at the checkout for a lot of people. But it is also, one of those things that it's like, okay, well, do I just go and put the price of everything up a couple of dollars to absorb that in? That might be something that,
that's what we talked about, the split testing. So you don't know about if it's going to be good or bad. So if someone's telling me free shipping, can I do it or not? I'm like, depends on the conversion rate. Is it going to benefit your business or not? And the view on this, if your competitors are doing something, then probably that's not a bad thing to start with. That's a good thing because they're all optimizing around this. So I'm thinking about that as a positive thing. But you need to split test. Right now, we can look at your ROAS and think about, well, you have a 2+ ROAS or 3 ROAS, and this is what's happening. And then we can look at what happened if we add shipping, what happened if we remove shipping, conversion rate, ROAS, and performance. You need to split test. And this element is what Sasha mentioned. You fixing this machine, making it more profitable versus us looking at new products or new channels. That's kind of the two options. Would we do that or this? So my recommendation is to kind of start first optimizing for volume, more money in the bank, and then looking at, well, I need to fix these things. And I would start probably with the Black Friday deal. That's the first thing I would think about. And then the lead time, because that's going to scale the sales. And then the rest, in my opinion, would be split testing.
Yeah, I think just keep testing that price, Shelby, and look for different ways that you could like test the front end price, test the shipping price, and see what the customers are kind of happy to pay for. And don't be concerned with like, like I always ask this question to clients where it's like, do you remember the price of something that you bought online recently? Like anything. Do you remember the price of something that you paid for?
Yeah, I do actually. Because I accidentally bought something way bigger than what I thought I was going to buy it. But I checked out and I was like, fuck, that's expensive. Like, my husband's going to kill me when he sees how much I spent on that. And then it's arrived yesterday and I was like, oh, this makes so much more sense. That's why I spent that much money on that thing that I accidentally bought. But
I'll give you one app I just remembered. There's an app called Absolutely. So AB, Absolutely. It's a good app to split test pricing, just to let you know.
Very good. Very good. All right, Shelby, I think there's a bunch of things that I would definitely kind of rewatch this episode on and go back through and kind of sequence out. And then obviously Hamen will be working with you on, implementation, sequencing. But I think the key message out of this is less is more right now. And what will probably slow your business growth down is trying to do too many things all at once at a poor quality. It sounds like that's kind of happening. So if we can limit that and put your attention onto the right things, that's really where you're going to get the most. And it's always going to feel like something's not done, or you're leaving something on the table, or you're having to, one baby is getting food, the other baby is not getting food. It's a very, very challenging part of business growth where you're just like, you have to make these sacrifices. And it's about, the analogy that I love is you have two types of balls. One is a rubber ball and one's a glass ball. And you're juggling those balls all day, every day. And at some point or another, when you get presented with a lot of chaos, you have to drop some balls. And you have to know which one's glass and which one's rubber, because the rubber will bounce, the glass is shattering. And that's like effectively what we're trying to do here. Which one of these things can I go, you can drop. I don't care. I've got to catch this one right here. That sounds like a real strong focus for you at the moment.
Yeah, fantastic.
Okay. Super excited, and congrats on the journey so far. Very, very rewarding to hear the confidence and the also like the ability for you to see that light at the end of the tunnel into the future. I think there's a tremendous opportunity here in terms of what you've created so far, and I really, grateful to have you as a client, grateful to have you in the community, and super pumped to see what we can do with the business as we continue to grow over the coming, few months and years together.
Thank you. Hamen's been an absolute godsend for me and my business. So
Amazing.
Thank you for having Hamen on the team, because he's amazing.
All good.
Very good. Fantastic. Well, keep it up, Shelby, and I look forward to seeing where the business gets to soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right.